Hi everyone, my name is Yanni Spell Hernandez. I'm a BC ABA. I'm here with ABA Exam Academy. Today we're going to be talking about task list D, specifically chaining. What is specific about chaining? Well, we're going to be talking about forward chaining with leaps ahead, task analysis, and mock questions and more mock questions like we always do. Here in ABA Exam Academy, we're basically, Demi and I, we specialize on doing free weekly study sessions based on the task list. And we also do personalized tutoring sessions where you can find our resources and our services at abaexamacademy.com. Our disclaimer that we always mention is that the meetings are meant to have open discussions and collaboration amongst each other. Everybody's welcome to talk. And sometimes we make mistakes, and that's why I like it, because we learn from the mistakes. And keeping that in mind, just remember to double check everything that we mention here. Sometimes we catch it, sometimes we don't. So just as a reminder, the PowerPoints and mock questions were created by me, and today I'm using the slides that I'm using are from, the PowerPoint is from Google Slides. And the books that I use is Cooper and Mayer, mainly Cooper. Let's get officially started. So, D06, it's all about using chaining, chaining. So what is a behavior chain? I don't need the book definition. If you know it by heart, fine. I just need like a brief idea of what pops into your head when I say the word chaining related to behavior, to ABA.
The sequence of behaviors that lead to reinforcement.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? There was a
specific sequence of behaviors that lead to reinforcement, behavior chains.
So I like the way that you said a specific sequence of behavior, and at the end you get a major reinforcement. And so who else wants to add something else to it?
Is a behavior broken down into smaller steps or simpler steps?
Exactly. Also that. So I agree with both of your comments. So the actual full definition that I found, it has a little bit of everything. Let's go over it. So a number of individual stimulus response components that occur together in a sequence. So in other words, it's a complex behavior and is a behavior chain, stimulus response chain that is broken down to small, simple responses. If I had to summarize it in a sentence, it would be, it's a complex behavior that is broken down into simpler responses. And each response in the chain produces a stimulus change that acts as an SD for the next response in the chain. And I think the last part is key, and this is because I think the above part, we're pretty much aware of it. It's like complex behavior broken down into simple steps. And here's where it gets tricky that the mock questions could, the questions from the test could add, is that the chain produces a stimulus change that adds an SD to the next response in the chain. And we're gonna go more over this information. So what do I have in here? Is Jenny's new masterpiece. Not too long ago, I showcased a beautiful masterpiece that I made, which was the tree. And today I just created this one, which is, check this out, guys. What do you think about it? Huh?
I think it looks great. I think it looks great. Yeah. Look at that chain.
The chain is big, bling, bling, bling. So
I know.
I like that hair.
What is it?
My favorite. So I want us to keep an eye on the way the chain looks, that it's one leads to another one and it leads to another one. That's why I wanted to make the ridiculous painting. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's use an example for brushing teeth. Here's another masterpiece. That's a brush. That's a toothbrush with paste on it. No, toothpaste on it. Okay, so here is The SD1 would be toothbrushing, the toothbrush and the toothpaste in the hand. Can you visualize it? So the response that the child needs to engage in, or the person, what is it? Who wants to read this one?
Put toothpaste on toothbrush.
Okay, so there we go. I engaged in the response 1. So what's my second SD?
Once the toothpaste is in the toothbrush.
Once the toothpaste is already in the toothbrush, then what do I do, guys? What's my correct response?
Put toothbrush in mouth.
Yes, put toothbrush in mouth. I don't want to go through the whole chain, but I want us to see the visual of the chain right here. R1 is the same as SD2. They're linked. Although they're worded a little bit different, they are the same. Put toothpaste in toothbrush, and once the toothpaste is in the toothbrush, then you go to response 2. And this happens except in which response? Let's pretend that this chain has 5 responses.
The last one.
The only response that doesn't have an SD afterwards. I'm sorry.
R5.
Yes. Why?
There's not an SD that follows.
Exactly.
They're at the end.
Okay, and again, this seems like common sense to us now because it's I am making a lot of visuals to be like sort of in your face. When it gets tricky to me is when it's written in an actual question because it's all like too many words. So a good note to have is that when referring to a chain in Cooper, Cooper presents SD as S. So S1, S2. For instance, here you see how I put SD1. Cooper has S1, S2. And I wanted to point that out just in case you see it. Okay, so let's move on to the different types of chain. So we already know there are 4 types of chain, okay? So I'm gonna read one to you and then you tell me which one you think that is. Teach one step at a time from end to beginning.
Backwards chaining.
Backward chaining. Nice job, guys. This one, I'm asking with no visual prompts or anything. You're just getting it. Okay, so teach one step at a time from beginning to end.
Forward chaining.
Forward chain. Good job. The chain of behavior is thought as a simple unit, and it uses prompting as necessary to complete all of the steps in the chain as needed.
Total task.
Total task.
Total task.
Total task presentation. And the last one, same as backward chaining, except that not every step is trained.
Backward chaining with leap ahead.
What did I tell you when I started presenting? That you guys knew the basics. You guys, you're good at this. So just for, I created this slide to go into the deep details of it. I'm not gonna read it all because we're gonna go crazy here, but I just want us to take a look at it whenever we're watching the YouTube video and pause it and meditate on it. Just remember forward chaining in what, let's say that we're doing a behavior chain that is 5 steps. In forward chaining, where do we start? With step 1 or
1.
Total task chaining?
1.
You start in 1, but what's the difference, guys?
All the steps are presented and then you prompt. The one, I guess I'm not understanding.
Okay, so
all the steps have to be taught in every session.
Yeah, every step in every session.
Every step in every session. So you guys said both forward chaining and task and total task chaining, we start in step 1. So the only thing that makes a difference is what you guys said. Every step is taught in every session. Means you prompt and you see, give the opportunity. If the child cannot perform it, then train and then reinforce. Okay, so backward chaining, in which step do we start?
The last
one.
The last one, and backward chaining with lips ahead?
Last one.
And but what's the difference?
Not every step is trained. Some are prompted.
Exactly, thumb and prompt. Another thing that I want you to point out here is the AKA. From what I found, the only one that has AKA is total task chaining. So there are 3 AKAs. I'm gonna block it and then you're gonna say it back to me because I'm sure you already read it. So who remembers 1 or 2 or 3? Go ahead.
Total task presentation.
Total task presentation. Which other?
Whole task presentation.
Podcast.
It was total task. It was the other one. Which one did you say, Rita? Whole task?
Yes, whole task.
Whole task. Whole task. And the last one, which I
Total tasks. No, we said that one.
It's a weird one. It's like it doesn't
Concurrent chaining.
Concurrent chaining.
concurrent chaining. So keep that one in mind and start associating it with it. Okay, so that information I found it from Cooper, Mayer, and even a little bit from Plastic. Let's move on to the actual mock question. So to train forward, total task, backwards, and backward chaining with lips ahead, the BCBA needs to develop a task list, task analysis, task analysis, and task analyzer.
E like cat.
C.
Task analysis.
Good. I wanted to catch whoever wasn't reading in the details. So that's why I developed this one. But you guys are sharp. So we can say that she needs to develop, or you can say the word create or write or any of those things. We cannot perform a total task backward chaining without a task analysis. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
Agree.
They go together. So who wants to tell
Agree.
me what is a task analysis in their own words?
The steps. Breaking down a unit of behavior into small steps.
Yes, I agree. So basically, if I were to explain it, I would say that this is the task analysis is the paper where you actually write down the steps. And the chain that forward, or like let's say total task backward, that's the method that I use. Do you agree with that conclusion or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you. You know, at the beginning when I started studying, I would go, the wording would trick me, so I needed to define it very clearly. Okay, so just a little debate here. So imagine that we have the same exact question, right? So the multiple choices are task list, task analysis, and list of steps for the chain. Which one would you select?
B.
B.
B. Why B?
That's the name of the steps, right?
And it's more detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you think about a list of steps for the chain is sort of what it's happening, but what you said is correct. It's more detailed. I would say it's just more ABA. It's like that's what the test is asking. So that's what we have to be picky with.
I guess you could say it's the proper terminology.
Yes, that's I'm gonna write that one here. Proper terminology. Proper. Can we say ABA terminology?
Yeah.
Do we like that? Yes, I like that much better. Thank you, Arturo. So what I said is that something similar to what you had already mentioned, and what I said is that these might be the words that we use to explain to a parent what it is, right? But it's not what we would put in a test, which is it's very important for us to differentiate the difference. But since you guys are really good at this, you didn't let yourself get tricked. So that's good. Okay. So when training an RBT to conduct a behavior chain, the BCBA tells the RBT to train and reinforce the child's first response. The child needs to engage in 4 responses to complete the chain. What type of chain is she referring to? Is it forward chaining, total task chaining, backward chaining, or backward chaining with lips ahead?
Forward.
A.
Forward. A.
Forward, A. This one is easy, so let's move fast through it. Yes, and what is the key thing here is the train and reinforce the first response.
Response.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I get to the tricky one. Okay, so the teacher is training her student to put on his coat. She tells him, put on your coat. The child obtains the coat from closet. Then the coat is in his hand. Once the coat is in his hand, he places one arm in a sleeve. Which one is the S2? Child obtains coat from closet. Teacher says, put on coat. Coat is in the child's hand. Or child places one arm in a sleeve.
C, I think.
Okay, so I have one.
Okay.
Somebody said,
Hold on.
yeah, I know. That's
She. The A.
A.
Somebody said A. I think two people said A, and one person said D. So I think that's the three that we usually want. So the answer is
C. Coat in child's hand. C.
C. Coat in child's hand.
C. Mm.
Because the instruction doesn't act as the
Doesn't count.
part of the chain. Yeah.
So you give the SD first, and then you start with the SD1, SD2.
Right. You would want to start from the behavior. I would think.
Wait. Go
Wait,
back up.
why
Yeah.
are you-
Can you go back up to the? Yeah. Look, you changed the question here, Jenny. You put which is. Yeah, you wrote which one is the S2, and then if you go back down to the next one, you put which one is the S1.
Oh yeah, but the answer is the same. Let me double check it. This one I got it right from the book. But I do want to double check because I was messing with it a lot. So the correct answer for S2 is coat in hands. The only thing that I added was coat in child's hand. Remember at the beginning when I was saying, oh, this is very simple, it's very obvious to us, but then it gets tricky when it's here. This is what I meant. Let's break it down, but let's not stress out. Give me a second. So if you have problem with the question in the test, what you're gonna do is break it down. So now let's do what, go ahead, Minerva. Now let's talk about it.
No, what I'm saying is like when the teacher says, she tells him, put on your coat, that's the SD, and then after that you start counting SD1, which is the child obtained the coat from the closet.
Let's go for it. So S1 would be, do everybody agrees with Minerva? Put on coat, when teacher says put on coat?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We agree with you with that one. So what is R1?
The child obtains the coat from the closet.
Child obtains the closet. So S2.
Wouldn't it be the child obtains the coat from the closet? I thought that the response one was the next ST. That's what you said in the above.
Obtain coat from closet, coat in hand.
But that would be the next. You're missing.
Let me see. Obtain coat from closet, coat in hand. And what is the multiple choice that I added? Did I add the one that confused you?
But if you go back up to your visual from the other side.
You think this one?
No, the one that you did, the one example, the beginning that you were like, oh, you guys already know it.
Yeah.
It shows.
The one with brush teeth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
that one.
Please,
No. You reviewed. Am I the only?
You can put the exact.
Okay, so but
No,
here, look. What we're showing you right here. You put the R1 is the same as the next SD. So that next exam, the question that you just did, you moved to a different SD and a different response. I thought the response was the setup for the next SD.
Let's look at it again. Okay, what I can tell you for sure is that it's correct because it's in Cooper, page 436. So What I want to figure out is why are we getting it confused? Because the wording is different. That's what I want to figure out. You see what I mean? Are we in the same page?
Yes,
I
but
see what you're
yeah.
saying with the R1 and the S2, but if you look at it, it's almost the same thing. It's just worded differently.
Yes,
Like she
that's
said,
what yes.
obtain coat from closet is the same thing as coat in hand. It is confusing though. I can see how you get confused.
And
'Cause I'm getting confused.
I am
Do you know what
glad.
I'm saying? Like,
Yes, I agree with you. It is confusing, and that's why I wrote it down, because that's the way Cooper has it. So my thing about it is that the test is going to present things like this. So we need to start seeing it as, okay, so is this the same as this? Is it just worded differently? That's what we...
I think it is. I mean, after the response, I mean, it becomes a SD. So you prepare that response to be an SD so you can complete the next step.
Exactly. So this is just worded as in the way you would word it to represent a response. But it's the same as D because the child here, as the response is obtain the code on the from closet. And SD is the code is in his hand.
It's in the hand.
So look, let's visualize it. Let's visualize it better. But I'm glad we're having this discussion because this is the whole purpose why I wrote it. Because if it were me, I would still also maybe make the same mistake because it is tricky. You have to go beyond. That's why I want you in the test to break it down like this. I don't want them to. So obtain the code from the closet. I obtain it. That's my response, right, guys? So the SD is code is in my hand. Did anything change?
No.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And it is true, the terminology is what confuses us, but it means the same thing.
Yes. And the R2 is, R2 will be placed one arm in sleep. Okay? And the only reason why I'm 100% sure about it is because it's in Cooper, page 436. He has a really nice table there, which has a couple more things that are more confusing, but I didn't bring it up because I don't want us to go bizarre today. Okay, so let's go back. I think this one's not that bad. So the RBT is using a chain that is a variation of forward chaining. Instead of adding one step at a time, like in forward chaining and backward chaining, here she trains all at the same time. Every step is taught in every session. So are we talking about forward chaining, concurrent chaining, backward chaining with lips ahead?
Concurrent chaining.
Concurrent chaining.
Ooh la la! Ooh! Before I make a show, let me make sure I'm right. Yes, guys, congratulations. So yes, AKA for it is concurrent chaining, total task presentation, whole task method, total task chaining, and not this one, obviously. Good job, guys. And that is it. We did. The half an hour today flew by. Thank you so much for participating. I appreciate it. And have a wonderful night. If you need more tutoring, just go to our website and schedule a tutoring session. Any questions or any comments or anything like that before we leave?
Thank you, Annie.
No, thank you.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jenny.
Look at that Cooper page so you start.
Oh, I saw it.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.